Okay, so this is going to be a quick video about this chart. You guys have this in your packet, and I just wanted to go through a few questions with you because I think it's kind of important to understand and organize where your thoughts are with the graph to all the forms that we have. So let's do two of these questions from a graph, and we're going to do two of them from the form, from vertex form. We're going to fill in the other column. So with number one, the first thing you need to find, like the first important piece of information, is to find the vertex as we did in our videos before. The vertex for this problem is -1, -9. We're going to put it in vertex form, which would be y equals, we don't know if there's an a, so we're going to do a times x. And remember, the vertex form is y equals a times x minus h squared plus k. Your h is essentially your x coordinate, your k is essentially your y coordinate. So since your x coordinate is negative, it's going to be +1. Don't forget to square, and then you're going to have -9 as your k. Now, do you guys remember from the last video or the video last week that we did determining what a is? Well, we had to pick another point from the graph, plug it in, and make sure that it worked, or just that it doesn't work, so that means we had to find a. So it looks like this point right here, which is actually a root, would be a good point to check. So in order to check if there is an a, we're going to plug in this point and see if it works. Well, if we're plugging in a point, we should probably plug it in. So we're deciding if 0 is equal to, and actually we don't even want to write a at this point. We're going to plug this in and do 2 plus 1 squared minus 9. Is this true? Does this make a true statement? So again, we don't know, but this is 3 squared, which is 9. 9 minus 9, in fact, is 0. So that means it's true. There's nothing else that needs to be added to this vertex form. So this is vertex form of this graph. Now, if this was not true, we would have to plug in the point again to solve for what a is, like we did in the last week's video, finding from graphing or graphing to vertex, vertex to graphing. So now we're going to take this and expand it. So in order to expand, well, this binomial needs to be squared. Well, we know what a binomial squared looks like. It's just x plus 1. Some of you are like, wait, I know the trick, and that's great. If you know the trick, then you know that you square this first term, you twice the product in the middle, and then you square the last term. We would essentially get that same thing when we're foiling. So this becomes x squared plus x plus 1 minus 9. Y equals x squared plus 2x minus 8. That's standard form. So for you to get it in vertex form, you've got to find the vertex and check your second point to make sure there's no a. In standard form, you take vertex form and you expand it. Now in factored form, it's exactly what it says. You're factoring standard form. So we're going to start here. And we're going to say, okay, well, what multiplies to give us -8 but adds to give us +2? That's going to be x plus 4 times x minus 2. And that's it. From here, we can find our zeros, which mentally we can say, well, it's going to be -4 and +2. Take a look. We have x-intercepts at -4 and +2. So that one worked. That one worked out well. Let's do number 3 on the bottom. So in this one, we've got a vertex at 2 and -9. And the second point to check is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 0. And remember, this is the checkpoint. We're going to plug that in to make sure there's no A. All right, so it's going to be y equals x minus 2 squared, because 2, positive 2 is your x in your vertex, minus 9 because the negative 9 is your y. So we're going to plug in this point to check to make sure that our equation is true and we don't need an A. So 0 equals 5 minus 2 squared. Well, 5 minus 2 is 3. So 3 squared is 9. Once again, 9 minus 9 is 0. So our equation, y equals x minus 2 squared minus 9. Remember, standard form, we need to expand vertex form. So x times x is x squared. X times negative 2 is negative 2x. Negative 2 times x is also negative 2x plus 4 minus 9. So standard form is y equals x squared minus 4x minus 5. Okay, we're going to take this one up as well and get to factored form. Y equals x squared minus 4x minus 5. What multiplies to give us negative 5, but adds to give us negative 4. That's going to be x minus 5 times x plus 1. And we can tell from that point our zeros are going to be 5 and negative 1. Here's negative 1, here's 5. And that is the correct factored form. So pretty simple. Pretty simple from there. All right, let's turn the page. Now we're going to have to graph and then find standard and factor. Well, that's no problem, because from here we can tell that our vertex is, actually, I'm gonna let you guys do that one, and we're gonna do this one and the last one just like the other one. So the vertex is negative 5, negative 4. So negative 5, negative 4 is our vertex. Now, how do we find other points? Well, we can plug in another point, make a little table. So we have negative 5, negative 4 as our little table, and we can do one to the left and one to the right. So negative 6, if we plug this in, would give us negative 1. Negative 1 squared is just 1. 1 minus 4 is 3. So negative 6, positive 3. Sorry, not positive 3, it's negative 3. Let's just double check. Negative 6 leave you negative 1 squared is 1. 1 minus 4, yeah, negative 3. So here's this, here's this. If you wanted to, you can even plug in negative 3 and see what you get. So that would be 2. 2 squared is 4. 4 minus 4 is 0. So this one would also be 0. So this would be negative 1, 2, 3, 0, and then negative 7, 0. So that's what this parabola would look like. And again, if you recall from our previous lesson, what do these mean? That would actually help you find factored form immediately. So your standard form, you're taking this and you're expanding it. Okay, so x times x is x squared. And then we've got plus 5x plus 5x. And then plus 25, then minus 4. Y would equal x squared plus 10x plus 21. And if you want to go by this, you can, which would mean your factored form would be x plus 3 times x plus 7. And that is true, because if you factored this, What multiplies to give you positive 21 but adds to give you positive 10? 7 and 3. Oh, I wrote it opposite, but they mean the same thing. And how do we find that easily? Because we found our zeros in the graph. Okay, so let's look at number 6. This one has a stretch or a compression. Which one do you think? Well, since this is greater than 1, that means that this is going to be a stretch. It's going to be a longer graph than normal. So let's figure out what our vertex is. Our vertex is -4, -8. And let's do our little table. If you want, we can find our zeros. So to the left, we have -5. And we can plug those in and see what we get. So -4, 1, 2, 3, 4, -1, 2. Okay. All right, let's plug this in. Let's plug in -3 right here. So if we plug in -3, -3 plus 4 is 1. 1 squared is 1. Times 2 is 2. 2 minus 8 is -6. Mental math. Flex it. Okay, -2. We plug in -2. -2 plus 4 is 2. 2 squared is 4. 4 times 2 is 8. 8 minus 8 is 0. Quick, didn't even take a minute, guys. It might take you a little longer than that, but still nothing too crazy. So we know our zeros. Once again, we just found them. So -6, 0. This was -4. So 5, 6. And -2, 0. We've got -3, -6. And here's our little skinny, vertically stretched parabola. Okay? So now from vertex form, we're going to go over here. And now we've got a little different thing because we're going to have to distribute that 2 after we expand this binomial. I'm going to do the binomial, the square of a binomial trick. Square the first term, twice the product in the middle, square the last term. So y equals 2 times x squared plus 8x plus 16 minus 8. So 2 times x squared plus 8x plus 8. Distribute. Y equals 2x squared plus 16x plus 16. Okay, now this is a tricky part. So over here, we want to bring this up, but we kind of just work this out. So we're gonna work basically back up here and get our factor form. We already know our zeros. So from this equation, we know how to factor something. We always have to look for a GCF. So in this case, our GCF is 2, just like we saw here. X squared plus 8x plus 8. And now to factor this, here's the step. So we had to pull out a GCF here first, and we get y equals 2 times, what is this? Multiply by 8, but would add to give you 8. Something's not right here. Did I do something wrong? Let's see. I think, all right, hold on one second. I think that we're supposed to do some, I'm gonna have to do some erasing real quick. Just a second. Okay, now, I'm leaving this part in because just to prove to you that everyone makes mistakes and it's okay. So I want to show you something. I knew my zeros already because we graphed them. This was given to us. We knew our zeros. Even if it wasn't given to us, we would be able to figure this out no problem. However, I made a very silly math mistake over here in this one, and hopefully you guys saw it while I was doing it because I clearly did not. So when you're doing this, this 2 is just multiplied by your expanded binomial, not by this constant over here. So that was my mistake. So let's do this correctly. This minus 8 has to stay on the outside until we distribute that 2. So that's what it should look like. And our final answer should be 2x squared plus 16x and then plus 32 minus 8, which is 24. That looks much better. Okay, so what can we learn from that mistake? Well, what can we learn is that when you see something would not work over here, go back to your previous step. Go back to what you know is true. We knew these were our zeros. I could not get that in factored form from here, so we had to work back and see what our issue was here. Don't just give up. So this was the mistake over here, and now we can factor this. Take out your GCF. All right, now multiply to get 12, added to be 8 is going to be a positive 6 and a positive 2. That makes much more sense with our zeros over here. So that's how you do this graph to standard form, this graph to factored form, standard form, vertex form, all that jazz. So I kind of just decided in the moment right now that I'm going to have you guys do 2 of these problems. I'm going to adjust the agenda right now. I'm going to have you do 2 problems, number 2 and number 5, and we're going to call it a day. So tomorrow we will resume with the lesson that was supposed to be today, which was square roots. Actually, I'm going to adjust the agenda right now and show it to you at the end of this video just so there's no confusion. Hang on. Okay, so I just updated your agenda, and here's what it looks like now. Okay, so tomorrow is Wednesday. Instead of doing a new lesson, we're going to do what I thought we could do today. So I'm going to give you another day to kind of digest the factoring and then kind of talk about what this chart means and how to complete and tie everything together that we've been doing. So tomorrow we'll start fresh with solving by square roots. I'll put some more videos, more supplemental videos in, and then we'll hit the ground running. I wanted to do the quadratic equation by Friday, but that's okay. We'll just finish up completing the square on Friday, and then we will go from there. So let me know if you have any questions. I will see you soon. Bye.